Buenos dias, amigos. Did you just hear that train? That was Rushy. Espero que tu día esté yendo bien. Estoy vivo, estoy bien. Gracias a Dios por otro día, por supuesto. Los amo a todos, ¿sabes? I'm sorry I don't have subtitles right now, and I know not everybody that watches speaks Spanish. I love you all. Hope you're doing well. Thank God for this day. Thanks for your interest. I'm going to use this moment to speak about something I feel could be useful to speak openly about. I'm not really going to warn you, but I would really appreciate if you took the journey with me. Thank you very much for your time. Now, in reference to the doctor-patient thing, a doctor is very educated in their studies, and we know that. And the relationship they have with their patient is very important to that doctor. I have known doctors that have made some mistakes that they themselves were really upset about just from the way a particular individual reacted to something they didn't see coming. But that doctor was not happy about that either. Like I know some people would start attacking that doctor for that, but they're not considering what that doctor is feeling about that. Well, that doctor isn't happy about that either. But that doesn't happen all that often. So it's not a concern. It has happened. So don't jump to worst case scenarios. But I'm just talking openly. You need to remain mature in your mind if this is going to be of most use to you. So it does happen, but not often. But when it does happen, that patient goes through shit, but that doctor is very upset about that because that doctor is legitimately trying to help. The patient trusts the doctor, and the doctor appreciates that because the doctor wants to help that patient be healthier. And the medical field supplies us with lots of really amazing, amazing aids right now, especially with all the stuff going on. And thank God for all of our medical professionals. Now, if they give you a prescription for a physical ailment, well, they know their shit, so they're not going to give you anything too off from what you need generally, and they are trying to figure it out with you. And legitimately, they could be not able to figure it out themselves, but they still need to troubleshoot it because that's how people figure it out, and the patient themselves doesn't really know either. So, but at the same time, the doctor does have an educated perspective, respectfully. So, but at the same time, if a doctor is troubleshooting something enough times and can't figure it out themselves, well, they have to be very honest with their patient and just tell them, logically, I don't know, but I'm happy to work with you and figure it out, right? Because the doctor can't get too stuck in the fact that they are the doctor, because the patient knows their body and they know what they're going through. And some people need more aid than the others. And when a doctor has somebody speaking to them that clearly knows their shit, the doctor's going to know that too. Just like a police officer when they pull you over. It's the exact same thing because it's your intuitional right as a doctor or a police officer to be able to judge if this human being is your person you're pulling over or aiding or your patient is of sound mind that you can believe what they're saying. That's your intuitional right in that profession. And so, and not everybody is, and some people need a lot of help, and some people just need some guidance, and it's all very flexible in how they perceive it, respectfully. And it can be, and it should be. That's their right, they did it. And this patient knows themselves, but you just got to hear each other. So moving on from that, if you have a prescription that is for a physical aid, like I said, the doctor isn't going to give you something too off, and you as the patient know if it's working or not, because you're either getting better or not. And if you have side effects, well, you know them too, and you need to communicate them with your doctor so your doctor can do the best job they can do as your doctor. Now, if you have a side effect or something and you don't tell your doctor, well, you can't really get mad at your doctor if your doctor doesn't do all they can, because you're holding back information. But the doctor has to be able to receive it maturely. And again, the doctor can. That's why the doctor has that position. But make sure you communicate with your doctor everything that's going on. Because if they want to do a good job for you, they have to know what's going on with your health. At the same time, as a patient, you really need an understanding of your own health, and very, very basically, without getting into it, that goes directly into the food you eat and what you drink and how you treat your physical body and how you treat your physical health yourself. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. But that is understood. We're creatures of nature. You take care of your body. You don't really have to worry about being a patient, because you're not as much of a patient, because you just take care of your own health. And then the doctor, respectfully, respects you for taking care of your health and can focus on helping people in emergencies, making them better at the emergencies and more successful, saving more lives. Anyway, I digress. So, if you tell your doctor about side effects, they'll have good suggestions to come back with. And then, if it gets to a point where you both don't know, the doctor has to be able to say to you, I don't know, let's figure it out. And then the doctor can learn from that patient, technically, if they can put a little time into research in reference to some things that maybe they wouldn't normally think to use, right? Like, I know I mentioned this before, but recently they've been using psilocybin in medicine. Well, that's fantastic. We want healthy human beings. We all want healthy human beings. We need prevention, and we need cures. We need quick cures that money can't. We need it all. Food does take time, and it's guaranteed. But, because that's nature. But the medical field is very needed, because it's very difficult to stay that firm on your consumption. So we're always going to need both. And they need to have a very good relationship. The doctors don't want you getting sick. So they want you knowing your food, and they, as human beings, outside of being a doctor, want to be healthy themselves. So they need to know their food. So we just need to know our food and our consumption and how that works. And we know that because the doctors do have vitamins, right? And the vitamins are doing what they're saying they're doing, because they do know their shit. And that's there because it is difficult to stay that firm on your food in current circumstance. No question about it. And it is very much so giving you vitamins that you need. And if you're not eating the vitamins in your food, you take the vitamin and it will help in the way they say. But they put that together because they also understand that that vitamin is mimicking what you should really be eating. But they know it's hard to stick with that, but they know that that's what you should be eating. And that's why you get these vitamins. And that's why they put them in there. And that's why they suggest them to you. And we all know this. I'm just getting to something. So, in that, if the doctor then gives a prescription for a mental issue, well, that's a lot different, sensitively. Because if it's a physical ailment and you go to the doctor, like over stomach pain or a toothache or whatever it is you're going through, you're of sound mind to judge it and stuff. And when it comes to mental diagnosis, there needs to be a really heightened sensitivity to the forcefulness of the perspective. Respectfully, if somebody gets a prescription and it's for a mental issue, well, you can very logically and sensitively understand how that individual would have a harder time sharing all the proper information with their doctor if, say, their information relates to mental problems like clinical depression or a multitude of mental disorders that these individuals, as doctors, are very sensitively diagnosing and trying to help these individuals. There's nothing going on there that isn't care. But very logistically, the individual with the mental diagnosis, well, when you get a mental diagnosis, that has a far greater impact on an individual's quality of life, because that just bleeds down over their whole existence. If they can't get going inside because of a serious depression like that, and they need to communicate some things that are really hard to say, well, that individual is far less likely to share all the information with their doctor that their doctor needs to be a good doctor under the given circumstance and very logical circumstance between getting a prescription for a mental cause and for a physical cause. And it is very serious, and I know that everybody understands that. I hope everybody can feel respect in my speech, because I'm really not attacking anybody. But we do need to understand a few things I would like to speak openly about at this time. Mentally, you have a lot of your own thoughts and your own perceptions, and as you perceive it will be correct to you if you yourself are comfortable with that perspective inside yourself. And if a particular perception is not comfortable with you inside, well, you feel like that is not for you. And some people get that not for you feeling and react to that compulsively, maybe even dramatically aggressive. And I do feel like, maturely, it links back to a lack of awareness of the energy. So in that, it would be very easy and understandable if an individual did not understand that energy and reacted compulsively, because, very simply and logically, they don't know, they can't assess it properly, they can't be mature about it, because they can't accept it, because they don't even know what's going on. It's very compulsive. And it happens. And if you fit that category, you think you might fit that category, you don't have to be upset about it, but just a little bit maybe, but at the same time, it's okay. Just change it. Just change it. Or not. You know, you can live however you want. I understand that. And I understand I say some pretty heated things when I'm in my moments, but I have a lot of very logical reasoning for some of the aggressive things that I've said recently. And I'm not happy about that. But I am ultimately trying to help everybody. So, as somebody who's trying to offer healing to whoever's interested in hearing me, respectfully. I hope that the information you did get from me, although at times aggressive, can be very useful to you in your own personal guidance. I feel like I would have really liked to have heard back about anything in reference to if people were finding my information useful or not. But if you're absorbing it and using it, that's all that really matters. But regardless, as somebody who has a mental diagnosis, if you are one of those individuals, you also have to consider yourself. Really consider yourself. Because you know why you feel the way you do. And if you don't know why you feel the way you do, you might need medication, and thank God for that medication. However, it might just be a matter of finding individuals that understand you a little better so that you don't have to feel like you're broken. And then you can be comfortable with who you are. If you're not comfortable with who you are, it's very difficult to have a peaceful existence. So you have to accept who you are. And if who you are is in need of that aid, well, it's available. Thank God for that. Use it. And make sure that while you do, you listen to you and you respect your own feelings. And it's really important that you are honest to yourself about your own health, mentally and physically. And if you lie to yourself about your own physical health and your own lifestyle habits, well, that's preventing you from improving it. And lying to yourself is harmful to all humans, so you're damaging yourself in that way as well. And I really am speaking for peace and love for whoever can absorb the information in the time I have. I'm not a doctor because I don't have the piece of paper. I respect them. I hope they can respect me. But I know in what I've done with health, the health understanding that I have needs to be heard. And it is very much so the understanding, more so than the specifics of what I have made in the container over there already today to eat later today. It doesn't really even matter what's in it. I could tell you, but that's not what this health understanding is about. And it's very nature-based. I respect meat eaters as meat eaters, but respectfully, what I did in my conscious eating plan was discovered primary sources of protein and calcium and all those things and stuck to them for a long time. And I also understand that if you are a meat eater and you are able to accept me, thank you for that. But at the same time, you could see how it will create the clarity. So in that, I don't expect anybody to live like me, but I do hope that you could reference my responsible meat eating video and take the information seriously, because if you can, well, you don't have to quit it. And there's lots of great suggestions as to how to responsibly eat meat and not really stress about it, because you're going to hear people say, you can't eat meat. And you're going to hear people saying, oh, I have to eat meat. And, respectfully, just shut the fuck up. Just eat responsibly and stop fighting over it. I didn't want to say that. But I know it's really hard to understand. This isn't something I want to say. But I should be excited to say it, but anyway. Because of my studies, I feel like I have very much so discovered the missing link in our food understanding. And that's a big thing to claim. You don't have to believe me. And soon, I have to come offline to survive. And right now, I'm prepping my viewers, hoping that I'm reaching those ladies and a few other individuals that I've been reaching out to, because I know they're willing to make a stand for the people. How do I know that? Well, whether if you like their music or not, they have 20 years on the line for peace and love. And you don't have to like their singing, and you don't have to like their dancing, but you cannot deny their intent over the course of 20 years. So they were learning and they were building themselves, and they are who they are. We know artists are free to create how they are. And whether if that person was coming from a painful place or a happy place, anybody that I supported during the time that I've been public, I believe they have proper intent to help their audience. And so in that, ultimately, obviously under the circumstance, I'm hoping to reach particular individuals, but I've supported a lot of individuals in this time. So any of them that can absorb that information and apply it to their own lives instantly, I help them. And especially if they have children and they're able to apply this health understanding to their children's diets, well, in the course of 20 to 40 years, we'll be human again. मेरे जीवन के रे भगवान का शुक्र है, मुझे जाना चाहे, आपकी इंटरेस्ट का शुक्रिया. That was Hindi. Thank God for my life. I gotta go. Thank you for your interest. Eat good, remain optimistic, and have a great day. 对所有人的和平与爱。Gracias Deo. Te veo pronto, amigos. Indio Yodora.